You guys are gonna have a fit when I show you all the books that I got because I can't even hold them in my hands. It's basically the length of me when I'm sitting on my bed. All these books. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another book haul video where I show you all the books that I got in the past couple of months. The last book haul video for this year. Okay, look, I admit I have a book collection problem because this isn't normal. However, I must also admit that these were all the books that I got in the past couple of 6 months. So, cumulatively, getting 30 books, I don't think that's a lot. Or I might just be delusional. Who knows? Never mind. Anyway, I'm so excited because in the past couple of months, I received some of my most anticipated, most exciting book mails ever. And I am so excited to show them all to you. So buckle up and enjoy. This is this is this is like one pile of it. Um then we have another pile. This is another pile. Oh god. And then we have another pile. If I had to stack them all up, I think they would at least reach half of me. Um, put all of them up together, like stack it, and then let me see. So I'm starting from where I'm sitting. You can't see it. And let's see how long it comes up to. Okay, don't fall, don't fall. Yep, it covers me while I'm sitting. It's basically the length of me when I'm sitting on my bed. All these books. And I will not even attempt. I think I will attempt. But no. Okay. Okay. My bad. My bad that I even tried that. But anyhow, let me show you all the books that I got without any particular order because I'm really excited to show you guys.
Used to know what happens when the world ends. At least
The first book that I see right in front of me is A Shimla Affair by Shrishti Chaudhary. I picked this book up because I had been hearing about the author for a long time, and everybody in my mutuals were praising her writing and her books. So when I saw that she had a new book coming out, I was like, let me get it, let me try it, let me see, let me read it for myself. Essentially, this is a story about these three sisters who run this hotel in Shimla, and it's 1940s, and India is in complete unrest, and you know the political situation of what India was going through at that moment. This basically is a story of these three sisters as they try to, revolt and save their hotel, which is very precious to them and their like whole life. In the midst of it, we see these three sisters also falling in love, taking part in this revolution, and basically being badass. And I kid you not, I loved this book so much. I loved this story so much. I was completely blown away by the writing, and I was completely blown away by how the author managed to, make it so detailed, so informative, and yet keep the, emotional aspect, keep the humanity of the book alive. I loved the three sisters. I loved each of their characters and their personalities, and I was absolutely torn away by the end. And it's quickly become one of my, most enjoyed, most favorite book of this year. I will definitely recommend it to people who are into, books that will make them think, will make them pause, will make them take a breath. I think people will say that this is a romance, but trust me, I don't really think this is a romance. Romance is just like, I think like 2-3% of the entire story. It's so much more than that. It's about being in love with this hotel, being in love with this family, being in love with this country, fighting for freedom, and just being a woman in 1940s India. And I think it's a great book. So yeah, I'm so glad I got this book. The next book that I got was Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. I was so excited about this book. And let me tell you, the truth is that I haven't read a lot of Ali Hazelwood books. I think the first book that I read was The Love Hypothesis, and I did not like that book at all. And then a couple of months ago, I think I read Bride, and I enjoyed that book a lot. I think I had so much fun with that story. It was just overall so fun. So when Problematic Summer Romance was announced, I was like, I need this book. Especially the fact that around the time it was announced, and around summer, I took a vacation to a beachside, and I thought that this would be the perfect book to take to that vacation. Did I read the book? No. But did I take amazing pictures of me sitting near the sea, on the cliff, etc., etc.? Yes, I did. But anyhow, I have read this book and I have some mixed feelings about it. Okay, I think that the book is too long. It is unnecessarily too long. I think the last few parts, the last few chapters could have just been scrapped. And I was not a big fan of the ending at all. It's just a personal bias. But overall, I do think that this is a very heartwarming and cute story. It's definitely problematic in certain aspects. But I think the author, I think Ali Hazelwood also, managed to balance the whole romance, the whole age gap thing, everything basically in a very nuanced and proper way. I don't think I loved it, but I had fun. I had a good time reading this. I don't know why I'm picking up all these romances, but the next book is Crazy Spooky Love by Josie Silver. You know what sold me? It was this bug. It was this little bug right in the cover. I was like, October, like spooky month is coming up, and let me also try some, cozy little romances instead of just reading horror and thrillers. So that is why I took this book up, and I did not have a lot of expectations from it, honestly, to be very frank. And it still disappointed me. I know some people can and are going to really love it. And I also know that I'm probably not a target demographic for this kind of story. It's just that I really was looking forward to the whole book. I did enjoy reading the first half of the book, but then I very promptly got annoyed by the main character. Yeah. It's basically about the main character who basically can see ghosts, and she takes up this job, this whole case where she has to get the ghosts out of this haunted house or something like that. I'm messing up the plot, but it is around that line. And then we have some ex fling that comes into the scene, and then this journalist who she is not very fond of, and there's another ghost hunter. Yes, the ex fling is a ghost hunter, which with whom she doesn't really bond anymore. And I think the journalist was the new fling. Anyhow, I read this book in a couple of days, and while it was fun and engaging and very smooth and short, I don't think I liked it enough to recommend it to people. That's all. The next book is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. I've actually read the ebook of this book long back when it came out. I just got a copy because it felt good to have a copy, a physical copy. Again, this is one of those books where I have mixed feelings about. Like, when I think about this book again and again, I feel like it's a stellar horror. There are still questions that I want to be answered, and I feel like that's really a great sign of a good written horror, that the more you read, the more you think about it, the more questions you have. However, when I read it at that point of time, I don't think I vibed with it enough. The thing is, I've also forgotten a lot of the things that happens in this book, so I think it calls for a reread. And I think on my reread I might just like enjoy it or see it for something more. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. If you have read We Used to Live Here, let me know down in the comments, because I really want to know your opinions and your thoughts about the book. The next book is The Midnight Shift, which I got from Bloomsbury as part of their Bloomsbury Creator Circle. And firstly, let's just appreciate the cover because it is so gorgeous and so stunning. It's a Korean translated novel about vampires and lesbians and vampire hunter. And there's a lot of folklore related to it. The story is short, but it packs a lot. However, my problem with this book was that it did not feel good. I think what I felt missing was that what was promised to me was not delivered to me. It just went on and on without really explaining things to me, which I really hate, which I really dislike in thrillers, especially thrillers and mysteries and horrors, where you have to build lore up and you have to build this backstory up to actually, make sense of the present. While I like the whole premise of it and I was expecting more from it, as the book ended, I don't think I really liked it as much as I was hoping for. Okay, so the next two books that I got were completely I don't know what purchase to tell you, but it's two Jeffrey Archer books. I will be very honest that I have never read a Jeffrey Archer book in my life. So look, I have one of Jeffrey Archer books back at home, but I never got around to reading the entirety of it. I think it was like some middle of a series book that I bought. I don't know why. And I just never got around to finishing that book because I did not understand what was going on. Recently, I got a collaboration and they were like, we're going to send you some Jeffrey Archer books. And I was like, oh, wow. That's great because I've never read any Jeffrey Archer book. Endgame is the recent release. So I was like, sure, why not? And they sent me like two Jeffrey Archer books, Endgame, An Eye for an Eye. Do not ask me what these books are about because I have no idea. I have no idea what it is about at all. But am I excited to read them? Yes. Finally, I think I'll be sitting down and reading a Jeffrey Archer book. Really looking forward to them. The next book is again another book that I have literally no idea what it is about, and it's called Sweet Fury. I've been told that it's a psychological thriller and women do some wrong, but I don't know because I haven't read the blurb. From the cover, it just feels like it's going to be about story about this glamorous actress or someone in the glam world, Hollywood maybe, and then something thrilling happens. The next book I picked up is again because of its gorgeous cover. Please look at it and please admire it because it is so haunting and it is so beautiful. I just love thrillers that have good covers. This is called Burn After Reading by Catherine Ryan Howard. I have read another book by the same author. I think I've read 56 Days or The Nothing Man. One of those books I've read. I think I did enjoy that book. But anyhow, again, I have no idea what this book is about, but I picked it up solely because I saw this gorgeous cover sitting and I was like, you're coming home with me. And the next book was one that I was so excited and looking forward to. And I'm so glad that people in my office were like, we're going to send you an early reading copy, which I still haven't read to the date because I'm just saving up for the right time. But anyhow, the book is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This is Holly Jackson's first adult book, and I had been looking forward to this for so long. And I'm so sad and I'm so upset to admit that I still haven't gotten around to reading it. And all of my friends have. And they've been saying a lot of good things about it. A lot of people are saying that this is Holly's best after A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I do not want to have a lot of expectations. I do not want to have like exorbitantly high expectations. So I would say that I'm kind of waiting for the hype, the expectations to go down a little so that I can read it with an open mind and with a lot of time in my hands, which I currently do not have. But nevertheless, I am so happy and I was so glad that I have a copy of this book in my hand, irrespective of the fact that I've read it yet or not. If you have, do let me know down in the comments because I would love to hear your thoughts about it. The next book that I got is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Let me tell you that I absolutely hate this cover. I don't know why I picked this up, but this was like one of the copies that were lying, and I was like, I just have to read inside. But now I realize that the cover is so ugly, I just don't want it on my shelf. And that's like so bad of me, but I just can't help it. I don't know what this cover is supposed to mean. But anyhow, I decided to read this before the movie came out. I still haven't watched the movie, but I have read the book. I finished reading the book. Look, I'm not really a big classic reader. I was not a literature student, so I never really, got the delving into the classic literatures. But I thought, now that these movies are being made, let me do my deed, let me do my part and read the original works. So naturally, I picked up Frankenstein and I was so glad. I was so glad that I read it because there are so many parts in the story that I never really knew about, or so many dynamics in the story that I never really knew about. I think a lot of people who just know about Frankenstein know that this is this monster that this person created out of body parts, and that's the story. But reading this book made me realize and made me, see the parts of stories that I never really knew existed. And I'm so glad that I read it, especially the second half of the book where we also get to see a little bit of perspective from the monster's eyes. And I think that really made the book so much more special. Yes, it did take me a little bit time because again, as I said, I'm not really a classics reader, so it did take me a little bit of time to get used to the writing, the pacing and the whole like story. But once I got into it, I think I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to reading more. I am planning to read Wuthering Heights before the movie comes out in February next year. So that's another challenge I have for myself. And I think I also need to go and see the Frankenstein movie adaptation because I've heard that it's amazing. So now that I know the story, I think I can link it in the movie so much better. The next book is Graveyard Shift by Emil Rio. And this is a book that I borrowed from my friend because I was intrigued by this cover ever since I saw it, and B, I wanted to read something by Emil Rio before reading If We Were Villains because I haven't still yet read that book. And so, since my friend has this, she's read this, I asked if I can borrow. She was like, yeah, sure, why not? I actually read this very recently, like a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know what to say because I was not expecting whatever the story was. And I feel like I was just left with so many questions and left just like gaping at this horrifying story, trying to understand what I just read and trying to make sense of the beginning and the end, and ultimately decided to give it a 2 stars. Because, hear me out, okay? If this book was turned into a full fledged novel, I think it would have done amazing numbers. I think it has the potential to be a story with so much depth. And I think for a novella, having around 4 or 5 characters was just not it, especially if you're not going to build up these characters for us to see. And I think that is done better in novels. The trick in novellas in 100 pages is that if you have an ensemble cast of characters, how are you going to build each of them within 100 pages? I think that was one thing that made this book feel very haphazard for me. Like, there were so many characters and I was trying to keep up with all these characters and they did not stand out as they were supposed to do. And I think it's just a me problem because it might have just been different for some others. But the thing is, the plot of this book, the whole scientific experiments, the whole thing with the rats, the whole thing with the grave digging, and everything else, sleeplessness, insomnia, I think the author had an amazing, amazing idea and still has the chance to develop this into a full fledged novel because I will definitely read it. It's just that in this novella, I think it needed more substance. I think it needed something more to be a full fledged, to be established more, and something that would have probably made me like it a little bit more. I was very sold on it until the last page where it just ended, and I was like, eh, is that it? At the end of the day, as much as I was excited to read it, as much as this cover is so hauntingly gorgeous, it just did not work for me. It was just an okay ish book. Okay, so the next book is another book that I am very excited to read it, and I still haven't read it because I haven't had the time to properly sit down and enjoy. But it's called Murder in Moonlit Square by Paul Waters. This is a book that I'm really excited to read because A, it is set in Old Delhi, and Old Delhi just has its own charm, and I think it is such a great setting that the author has chosen for a mystery because the lanes, the whole architecture of it, the whole aesthetic of that area, that whole aesthetic of Old Delhi, I think it just fits the whole mystery vibe that you can imagine so perfectly. And also, another thing is that it's sort of the kind of books where you have amateur sleuths trying to crack a case. So I think it's going to be like sort of that. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. So I am really excited to read this, especially because I've heard so many people enjoy this. So many of my trusted people enjoy this. So definitely looking forward to this. And the next books. The next 2 books actually I received from office from a dear friend are these 2 Dan Brown books. It's the same thing with me as it was with Jeffrey Archer that I have never read a Dan Brown book, being such a big thriller lover. So my friend in office was like, I'm going to give you the books and you're going to read them. And so she gave me Inferno and Angels and Demons because apparently these were her favorites and these are also fan favorites. And these are the new covers. These are the new edition covers. They are, I think, really gorgeous. I love the color scheme. I've heard a lot about Dan Brown, and I am finally excited to dive deep into his works. Also, another book that I received along with them is The Secret of Secrets, the hardcover. This is so stunning. I kid you not. Let me show you the inside page in hardcover because I think it's so stunning. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, have you looked at this? And now look at this. Isn't it gorgeous? This is like so stunning, and I'm so glad and I'm so happy that I have a copy of this book, this stunning new book in my hands at my house. It is, I think, the release of this book, Secret of Secrets, that really imprinted this in my head that I need to join others in this whole reading circle. Like, I did not want to feel FOMO. I did not want to be left out in the whole celebration of Dan Brown. So I got this, and I got this. Yay, let's go. I'm super excited to finally dive into them. Alright, so the next book that I got is Strange Houses. And again, can we just take a moment to appreciate this absolutely gorgeous pink and blue cover, because a thriller having such a bright cover, I am immediately sold. This is the second book in the whole I don't know what series to call it, but it's the second book after Strange Pictures, which was the red and green book. And I haven't read that book yet, but I got this book because I just knew that I needed it, and I just knew somehow that I was going to enjoy it, and I hopefully do. But anyway, this is Strange Houses, and it has also got pictures inside. So it's got like these apartment drawings, which is part of the mystery, and it's got like so many of them throughout the book, which I think really makes a great part of thrillers. I love thrillers that are immersive. As I have said before again and again, I love thrillers that really makes the reader feel like they're part of this story, this mystery, this thing happening. The whole Strange Pictures, Strange Houses, the whole series is those kind of books. So even though I haven't read them yet, even though I don't know if I'm going to end up loving it or not liking it, I think I just love having them on my shelves because they are so gorgeous, A, and B, they're just amazing looking books. The next book is Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. Thanks to Pan Mac for sending a copy of this book to me. I had been so excited ever since I saw the title announcement of this book. Girl Dinner, Girl Dinner. I have no idea what this is about, but I know that it's going to have some commentary on women and cannibalism, women's rage, maybe. But whatever it is, I am looking forward to reading this. Hopefully this month, or hopefully in the first month of the next year. I've never read an Olivia Blake book before, so this is going to be my first, and I'm really looking forward to explore her writing, her narration, the world building, and everything Olivia Blake. So yeah, there you go. The next book is another anticipated book of this year for me, which also includes a very exciting collaboration between two people that I don't think we ever saw coming, which is Gone Before Goodbye by Reese Witherspoon and Harlan Coben. Never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought or ever imagined Reese Witherspoon and Harlan Coben coming together to write a thriller. But you know what? Sometimes your wildest dreams just come true, and this is a result. Do I know what this book is about? No. Am I very excited to read this? Yes. Have I read anything by Harlan Coben before? No. But have I watched his book adaptations into series and movies? Yes. Believe me or not, those are quite entertaining, and I've had such great times just binging on these series or the movies that Harlan Coben's written or been adapted from his books. I don't know, I feel like there is a lot of potential in this book, and I'm probably going to be surprised. It's going to be my first Harlan Coben book reading. I'm really looking forward to like discovering what this whole story is going to be about, as well as this whole thrilling world that these two creators have come together to create. So fingers crossed, I guess. The next book is Can You Solve the Murder? And this is one of those books that is also, again, another immersive, be the main character sort of book, which I really love in thrillers. I don't know if you remember when we were young, we had these Goosebumps books where, you could choose your own ending, or, where you're supposed reading, and at the bottom of the page it would be like, if you think this is going to happen, or if you choose this answer, move to page this, and you'd move to that page and you'd have a completely different ending. And if you move to another page, there would be a completely different ending. So this book is essentially like that. It has like these little things to do, like write this, if you think that this is the answer, this is do this. If you don't think this answer, move to this page. And I think that is such a clever way to make readers be involved in your thriller. Yes, reading a thriller is amazing, watching a thriller is amazing, but actually getting the chance to, do the writing work, put your brain to use and solve a case, I think amazing. I'm so glad I have this book, and it also looks amazing. So it looks like this notebook. I'm really looking forward to actually sitting down one day and reading and solving this case, murder. The next book I received from Bloomsbury, which is Revolve, and it's the third book in this whole ice hockey series. I forgot what the series was called. Off the Ice series. It's the third book in the Off the Ice series. I've read the first two books, Collide and how can I forget? How can I forget? Spiral. My bad. I read the first two books, Collide and Spiral, and I liked Collide and I loved Spiral. I'm really looking forward to Revolve because these are just these kind of romances that really make me happy and excited and filled with joy. I do love the series so far, and I am hoping that I also love the third book. And thanks to Bloomsbury for sending a copy of this book to me as part of their Bloomsbury Creator Circle. It's also got such a cute cover color scheme, pink and violet, and these are like two of my favorite colors. So I am actually also excited about that. I guess if possible, I will try to end the year with this book or maybe try to read it sometime this month before the year is over. So let's see. The next book I got is My Grandfather, the Master Detective, and it's sent to me by Pan Mag India as part of their PMI Cozy Readathon month, which is going to run for the entire month of December. I'm really, really excited for this because A, I love cozy mysteries, I love cozy thrillers, I love, very homely mysteries, and B, I love when there's like an elderly person trying to solve a murder. I don't know why, don't ask me why. It's just the comedic timing of it, or maybe the whole innocence of these people that adds so much fun and narrative elements to these thrillers, I feel. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this book this month and being in my cozy self under my blankets and just enjoying this book with a cup of coffee or tea. The next book that I received is This Book Will Bury Me, which is another book that I got as part of the Bloomsbury Creator Circle. And I also read this book recently in the month of November and ended up loving it. It's about true crime. Okay, it's about these bunch of characters who are true crime lovers, who are true crime junkies, and they form this group. And when once they are, successful in solving a murder case, they basically are pushed under the spotlight. Then, when another murder case happens, which shocks their country and community, these bunch of people are again thrust into the spotlight to solve this case. The author has taken a liberty to use mentions of a real life murder case that happened, the Delphine massacre. I did my whole research about the case, and I will tell you that the author does not use exact replica of that case, just like, some inspirations. So do not take this book's case as the real life incident that happened, but take it with a pinch of salt. But anyhow, the book talks so much about the pros and cons of the true crime community, how they can help you so much in solving cold cases and, basically being consultants for the police and being, good at their jobs because they're chronically online. But at the same time, it also shows how problematic and how toxic the community can get, especially to people in real life, and ruin credibility of these people, ruin credibility of the police, and ruin credibility of so many other people involved in these cases. And I think the author does it so much justice. Like, the author is not criticizing the true crime community, but the author is also not taking the side of the true crime community, which is essentially what it happens or what it looks like in real life too. Like, a true crime junkies, a true crime podcast, a true crime solvers, Reddit pages, all these are great, okay? You can be part of them, you can try to, actively solve a case, but at the same time, there's so many things happening behind the scenes that I think we as just normal people cannot grasp. There's an overarching mystery going on within this book, of course, where our main character Jane, she's trying to clear her name because of all these, negative spotlight that she's gotten over the course of her life in this book, okay, over the course of this point of time since her father died, since she joined this true crime community, and since the time this whole massacre happens till the time that's solved and after. Because there is one twist involved that I think a lot of people will not see coming, but I did. I'm so glad. Around like 300 pages, I think it just really made this book so much more special and so much more. If you also love true crime like me, I think you're really, really going to enjoy this book. It's also going to keep you at the edge of your toes and make you sympathize, make you hate, overall, just leave you satisfied. Okay, so the next book is another Frida McFadden book, because how could I not end the year with another Frida McFadden book? It's called The Intruder, and I have no idea what this book is about. Again, I just go read Frida McFadden's books just blindly, not knowing what it is about, is I think the best way to read Frida McFadden books. So I'm doing the same with this. It's, I think, her latest release, and there's another one or there's two coming out next year too. I don't know how this woman is just writing so many books in such less time. The next book that I got is actually a one that I have read. It's called The God of Small Things. But the special part about this book is the fact that Arundhati Roy was in office again, and I got it signed. The God of Small Things is one of my favorite books ever. Like, ever since I read it, it's been etched into my memory and my soul and my brain everywhere. And I just recommend it to everyone and anyone who's never read this book. It's one of those books that really haunts you even long after you finish reading. And I knew that this time I had to get this copy signed. And I have it signed, and I think it's going to be one of my most prized possessions from now on ever. So, really glad and really happy that this happened to me. Okay, so we are in our last 5 stack of books left in this book haul, and my god, those were a lot of books. I really hope so far you're enjoying this video because we're down to the last 5 books. And these 5 books are books that I have no idea about. This is Then There Was One by Wendy Cross. And I feel like this is kind of going to be a play on And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I have no idea what this book is. It looks like a YA book, but it also looks interesting. I really love the cover. And I got My Lady Jane. Like, when the series adaptation came out on Prime, I saw a lot of reels about it. Okay, a lot of reels basically praising the series and how well it was adapted. And I don't know if it was continued or discontinued, but I never really was interested in reading it. But then recently I saw this copy lying in the office, and I was like, you know what? Let me just take it home and read it. And then I read the blurb behind it, and I was appalled. I was shocked and surprised to know what it is about and what happens in the story. Why did no one tell me that there was a man who turns into a horse in this book? So, yeah, naturally, I'm intrigued. I am excited and looking forward to finding out how the story progresses, and I will keep you updated about that. The next book is a graphic novel that I picked up called Mismatched. I know it looks very much like Heartstopper, and that is why I picked it up. I thought that, oh, is Heartstopper out with a new volume? And then I realized that it's not. It just has the same color scheme, the same text, and it's also endorsed by Alice Osman. So I don't know. But this is a graphic novel which is a queer retelling of Jane Austen's Emma. I haven't read Emma, so I have no proper idea of what the whole story is, but I'm looking forward to this, especially because this is so bright and so colorful, and I love graphic novels like this. So the next is With Neighbors Like This. Now, look, I thought that this was going to be a mystery or a thriller because I don't know, with the title and the cover and the colors, it feels like it's going to be a mystery. But then I read the blurb and I get the idea that it's not going to be a mystery or a thriller, that it's going to be a drama. So I don't really know what I'll find when I start reading this book, but I'm intrigued. And I think one of the best kind of things that you can do as a reader is pick up books and titles that you have no idea what they're about and just go blindly into them. And sometimes they turn out to be the absolute best and sometimes the absolute worst. We will have to see what this book turns out as. And the last book I saved for the last that I got very recently is Philippa Perry's Shrink Solves Murder. This is a May 2026 release, and I'm so glad I work in publishing that my friend just told me to take a copy, and I have a very, very advanced reader's copy in my hands. This is basically about a therapist who is trying to solve the murder of her 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. client. I don't know anything else besides that. It sounds exciting to me, and I'm really looking forward to reading this, like I have been really looking forward to reading all the other rest of the 30 books that I've told you about. Okay, all right. So we're done with this last book haul for the year 2025. Do think that I have more books that I got in between, but I think they're back at home because I've run out of space here. So I took them back home, read them, kept it there. Yeah, anyhow, those were all the 30 books that I received in the past couple of months. Some that I've read, some that I have not read yet, some that I really want to read before the year is over, and some that I'm carrying over to the next year and the years after. I hope you had fun watching my book haul. I hope you found some interesting titles that you too want to get for yourselves. And if there are some titles like that, do let me know down in the comments. Also, let me know if you've read any of the books from this pile. I would really, really love to know your thoughts about them. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What I should be looking forward to? And yeah, so I will see you in the next video. Bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way.